All right, everybody, welcome out to the Log Room Guys Craft Beer Show. It is Tuesday, March the 5th, 2024. Jersey Johnny coming at you. With me, as always, is none other than Mr. Beer Samurai. Say hello, Mr. Samurai.
No.
Say hello.
No, I'm eating these. These are good.
What are you eating? What is that you're eating today?
I'm eating these. They're basically cheese doodles.
Simply Cheese Puffs. So
they're much better. What I like about the Simply line that I guess this is the Lay's company, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Lay's company that they put out is there's no MSG in these things.
No missing. There's no Madison Square Garden in those.
Nope. No.
None whatsoever.
No, I mean there's plenty of air in the bag to fit it.
Oh hell yeah! Right.
But no, I'm one of those people that have the MSG sensitivity.
Right.
So a bag like this would give me a major migraine.
I hear you.
But these don't, and they're quite flavorful.
Yeah, well, I actually picked up a bag. Well, why are you eating them before I say what I'm going to say?
Oh, it's National Cheese Doodle Day, of course.
Happy National Cheese Doodle Day, folks. I have a bag of Utz, Oots, Utes, the two Utes.
Does anybody know how it's pronounced?
I think it's Oots.
Oots?
I think it's Oots, like OOTS. I think it's Oots, yeah. But I just looked on the ingredients here. There's no MSG in these either, ironically.
No, it's Utz.
It's Utz?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, these are Utz. It's pronounced Utz.
Those are Utz. So, well, hold on. Cheers.
Cheers.
Happy National Cheese Doodle Day. These are good. These are actually really good.
So today's show will just be John and I eating cheese doodles.
That's it. Just tune in to see us eat cheese doodles. We've actually had 2 people log on already, and they're gone.
Yeah.
So, no, we had a guest scheduled for today. In all fairness to him, it wasn't 100% confirmed, but he did have something he had to do that was personal and much more important than drinking beer with us on the show. So we're going to get him on a later show. But tonight you get the 2 of us eating cheese doodles. And drinking some beer, too. We're going to talk about a few things. And anybody listening or watching, well, if you're listening after the fact, you can't do this, right? But if you're watching live now.
Actually, I picked a good beer to pair my cheese doodles with. I'm sorry, I interrupted you. Keep going.
I was just going to say, if you're watching this live, all right, comment in all you want. Comments, questions, talk to us. Be part of the show. I mean, when we do these, just the 2 of us shows, I mean, we Dave and I are usually not ever for a loss of words. So
usually
not. But
and we did ask our drinking circle for ideas for the show. We were going to call it a request show.
Mm-hmm.
They were not very forthcoming with some of the requests for us things for us to talk about. I think one of the requests was that we shut up.
That was one of them.
That was one of the requests.
Mm-hmm. And we had
that'd be even more boring than just watching us eat cheese doodles.
It would be. We asked them for suggestions for the top 3 list too.
We got some.
The first one was top 3 favorite exercises.
That was not the first one.
That wasn't the first one.
No.
Oh no, you're right. It was.
Alice
was the first one, right? But the first one was, or the one I was referring to was top 3 favorite exercises. So Dave and I, we're not doing that tonight, but Dave and I together, we decided
we did come up with a list though.
We came up with a list. So here's the list. I'll just read it right now. Number 3, the tap pull.
The tap pull.
Okay, the tap pull. Right.
Number 2 is one of my favorite events.
Okay, give number 2. Okay.
It is the biathlon.
Mm-hmm. Tell us about the biathlon.
The biathlon is the can curl,
mm-hmm.
followed by the mug lift.
The mug lift, right. So it's the biathlon of sporting events that we put in at number 2. And the number 1 that we both agree on is
what we're doing right now.
Sitting.
Yeah,
right, exactly.
And don't fool yourself. At our age, it's actually quite a feat.
You know what? I often say this. I think I might have said it before on the show, but you've heard it before. The older you get, the more injured you are when you wake up in the morning.
Mm-hmm. You can go to bed perfectly healthy, wake up injured.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what my favorite childhood memory is, John?
What's that?
Everything not hurting.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's always a good one. So anyway, like I said, comments, questions, suggestions for future shows, whatever.
Complaints, ridicule. We'll take it.
We'll do them all. So anyway, also
just no spam.
Also, we
unless it's this kind of spam.
Yes, we want that. With that spam, fine.
Please send us some spam.
Exactly. Dave also did some digging. One of our faithful told us it's actually National Absinthe Day.
Yep. This was on the calendar, but one of our friends did mention that it is National Absinthe Day. I don't know that I've ever had it.
I have. I've had it. I haven't had absinthe on its own. I've had it in cocktails.
Okay.
Could I pick it out? I'm sure I couldn't, right? But I've had it. Wasn't like just an absinthe cocktail, right? It was a drop of it or a whatever, So, but I have had it before. I know that in cocktails, but I haven't had absinthe on its own.
Now, real absinthe is illegal in this country.
It's illegal.
So we had a little conversation about, well, I said the only compelling thing about absinthe at this point is, does it make you throw up or not? And everyone says, oh, I love it. But I want to know, I wonder how many of them have actually had real absinthe.
Right.
Now, as you've heard, I'm going to Prague in April. They have absinthe bars there.
He's going to have absinthe, and he's going to report back.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see how brave I am.
Depends on what happens.
I mean, because the thing is, I plan on eating liver dumplings. I may even try tripe stew. So we'll see if my bravery continues on to absinthe.
Wait a minute. Isn't that what you call curry? That's really scary.
What?
Never mind. Liver dumplings.
My little liver dumpling.
My little liver dumpling. Anyway, and then we lost another guest. All right.
Oh, there they go.
Anyway, that's an open. Anyway, no, to continue after that, it is also something the two of us may be doing later. Dave definitely usually does towards the end.
Oh, yeah, usually.
Happy National Potty Dance Day.
Now, the thing is, when I'm doing potty dance on the show, most of you can't see it, but this is my potty dance. Now, you can't see my legs, but they're fanning in and out, bouncing up and down. And that's my potty dance on the show. Exactly. You don't see it. You only know I was doing it because then finally I'm like, I gotta go, and I'm off that way.
I'll be back. Yeah, and it's usually while I'm giving my top 3 list.
Usually, but I think it's just a timing thing, John. It has nothing to do with not having any interest in.
Well, the guest is gone. You've gone. Now you have nothing to do while I go, so you might as well take the time.
Yeah, I left him completely hanging solo by himself at one point.
Last week, yeah.
Yeah, last week my bladder just said, "I'm done."
I filled the time. It was fine.
And I don't keep a bottle at my desk like some people.
Who shall remain nameless.
No.
Those of you that watch the show for a long time, you
know who we're talking about.
These are really good.
Have you opened your? Oh, no, I'm going to eat the whole damn bag.
I did. I just finished it.
Fat ass.
Oh
no, I haven't finished mine yet. I got like the big grab bag. Something along those lines. What are you drinking with them?
Well, right now I'm going to have a little water because I would not like to have the cheese powder taste in my mouth while I take a sip of my beer. So
I was going to say the beer that I'm drinking actually matches pretty well with this. I love this beer. Ghost Hawk Lager.
I'll put that up.
And it's a Keller beer. So I got to say, a Keller beer with white cheddar cheese doodles, not a bad combo at all.
It's not, huh?
It's actually works.
Well, I'll get my beer out. And we'll show you. Any notes about that beer you want to tell us about?
Yeah. B flat.
Yeah.
A sharp.
A sharp.
F sharp.
Any tasting notes you want to tell us about?
It's good.
Good tasting note. Good. Well done. I like that. That's impressive.
Es ist gut.
Es ist gut. You're going to keep talking German until you go, just so you have everything down, right?
Actually, I'm starting to text in German
Of course, the recipients have no idea what the hell you're saying.
No, because I text Carrie. I pointed like she's over here. She's actually out. But I text Carrie in German all the time. I'll talk to her in German. It would give us both practice listening to it and speaking it.
Right.
Like today, es regnet.
You're pregnant?
Yes, I am. Sure looks it.
Yeah, you have been for many years, actually.
Es regnet means
elephants have nothing on you.
It just means it's raining.
Right.
Right. And heute Morgen.
Walter Morgan?
Walter Morgan. I'm doing this wrong.
I actually was on a fire department with Walter Morgan. That's why.
Ist es sehr windig heute Morgen? Which is, I don't know past tense yet, so that's it's very windy this morning.
Yes, windish. Yeah. I do a couple of those words there. I can hold on. We'll mute him while he coughs. Cough away, Dave. I've muted you. There you go. All right, get it all out. Get it all out. You good? All right, there you go.
So what that was?
You inhaled a cheese doodle.
No. That was because cheese doodles are like this puff corn.
Right.
It's puff corn. Beer hits puff corn and foams. And the foam came right back up my esophagus.
Hence why I finished the bag, so I didn't have another one while I was drinking the beer. And I had some water.
Oof, that was fun.
There we go. That was fun. All right. For my first beer, I'm also having a Keller beer.
Very nice.
But it is an amber Keller beer from Treehouse, and I love the artwork on Treehouse's can.
That is they have beautiful work.
But there you go.
It's that is a remote location.
It's called Remote. Yeah, it's an amber Keller beer, 5%. And here it is in my favorite Massachusetts brewery glass.
There we go. Nice.
Yep.
So
cheers.
Yeah, cheers. Yours is or Prost.
Or Prost. Well, Prost.
Or Prost.
Well,
so yours is definitely amber. Mine is definitely straw.
There you go. Oh, that's good. That's very good.
Yes. Das ist lecker.
Das ist gut.
Lecker means delicious.
Does it now?
Yes, it does.
Wow. So, all right. So we're drinking our first beer. So
their liquor is less lecker.
We're liquoring up, as they say. Anybody have any questions? We see a few people have tuned in. By all means, question in, please. Somebody on Facebook. There's somebody on Facebook and X. A couple people on Twitch. Please write in.
We do have a few things to talk about, though.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Do we?
We do have a few things.
Wait a second. Did we prepare for this show?
Oh, no, we have a few things to talk about.
Oh, okay.
No. Yeah. We're just
going
to sit here and wait for comments and questions.
Wait a second. Did I miss the prep meeting?
You did. You did. But I filled you in via a text in Swahili.
Oh, excellent.
Yes, please read that. I had Matt translate it for me.
You had Matt translate it for you? Hold on. Let me see if I can find this.
There you go.
Oh, geez.
You know what? Back to our humble roots. Just you and I. Sirens outside. It's a beautiful thing.
I'm trying to figure out if that diacritical mark is a pop or a click.
I'm not quite sure. I think it's a pop.
Okay, hold on.
Am I right?
I think so. Hold on.
I'm just talking to fill in these awkward.
I really don't think that that's the one that has pops and clicks.
Oh, it's not.
No. Okay, so Tutasu Biri Mifuluzu. Let me see. How does Tutasu Biri Mifuluzu. Mifululizu.
Matt, if you're watching, please tell us what. Please.
Yeah.
Hello.
Tutasubiri Mafululizu.
Please tell us what that means. Oh, Dave can, but tell everybody else, or at least correct Dave on his pronunciation.
I said it wrong. Tusubiri Maswali, but it's the wrong word. It's Tusubiri Maswali.
Okay.
So yeah, if Matt's listening, he can hopefully translate that if I said it right. Maswali. Tusubiri Maswali.
Tusubiri Maswali.
Tusubiri Maswali.
There you go. All right.
Tusubiri Maswali.
All right. So
that's what John sent me as far as prep for the show. Mm-hmm. So I finally looked that up, finally figured out what it means, and it says We will wait for questions.
We will wait for questions. So we're just going to sit here and wait for questions.
And wait for questions.
There you go.
This will be enthralling.
That's it.
No,
Anyway.
We do have things to talk about.
I know. So let's talk about this first. Let's talk about I'm not gonna get into too much beer news today, because in a couple of weeks we will have on a guest that we want to get into a lot of beer news with. So
that's either one of two people. There's only two people that we do beer news with for the most part.
Right. So if you know that,
Wait a second. What side of the northern border is this person on?
where is the northern border?
The northern border of our country.
Which side? Oh, the side of the northern border, south of the northern border.
Okay, so I know which one it is.
Right. Exactly. So, anyway, so we'll be doing that then. We'll talk a couple of things, but I wanted to get into I'll get into a trip that I took a couple of weeks ago. Justin and I took a couple of weeks ago on my second beer, because I'll be drinking beer from one of the breweries we visited. So,
okay,
kind of lead into that. All right, but right now, Dave, you've back in the beginning of January, I mentioned it a couple of times. I mentioned it when we were going to have
expect me to remember that far back?
No, I'm not asking you to remember what I said.
Okay.
I don't want to dive too deep into it, but the trip, just safe to say, the trip I took up in up to Providence, up to Rhode Island, was fantastic. It was fantastic, and this is one of the beers I brought back, obviously.
Yes, and when we did our rock beer show, the beers that John and I drank were from that trip as well.
Right?
Same brewery, as a matter of fact.
Pretty much, except for there was one that we did. I had one from. Oh, you had it too, right?
No, mine was all three member treehouse.
Gotcha. Fair enough. But
you had one from Providence, right?
I had one from Providence, yeah. But they were fantastic, and as luck would have it, I was just going through some beer the other day in the quote unquote cellar, right, and came across the fact
the
Keller cellar, right. I've realized that I have enough smoke beer, I have enough Rauch beer to do at least another two big smoke beer shows, Rauch beer shows, like now, right? No. So what we decided is,
but I don't.
Dave doesn't. So I'm going to pepper some Rauch beers throughout some of the upcoming shows, if you will, and I might just do a Rauch beer myself, or my own Rauch beer night, even though Dave doesn't have any or what have you, depending on who's on. So, in any event, that aside, we will be. That's foreshadowing, because we will be having one tonight.
Well, yes. Oh, we are.
I believe we are.
Excellent.
I
can't wait for that.
One that I wanted to have on the show weeks ago, but I had to wait for you to get yours.
So you're going to pepper some of these in.
I'll pepper some of these in.
So a lot of them have phenolic acid in them.
I see where you went there. Yeah.
No, I haven't moved, because I'm still
right where you
John are. John and I are still competing in the top beer exercise city.
Exactly. Well, we have both decided to take.
We're training for the Beer Olympics.
We are training for the Beer Olympics, and the number one category is sitting. So
yeah, I think we're both doing pretty well.
I think we are too.
I think you're getting more style points due to the lean, though.
The lean helps. It's the Detroit lean. You got to go that. The Detroit lean.
Okay. Yeah. I know that.
Yeah.
I'm just doing. I guess I could do the Bundy.
Just put the hand down, but we don't need that. But
well, you can't see it, so that's a good thing.
Exactly. And furthermore, nobody even knows that you're wearing pants, so I don't know where your hand actually is. So leave it alone. Get it? Leave it alone.
Not wearing pants.
Exactly.
I never wear pants on the show. Why would
I know.
I need room to expand for the beer.
Exactly. So dad jokes. You did say you had one. No, I'm kidding.
No.
It's the dad joke portion of the evening.
Here we go. So it was raining today.
Oh, it was.
Right. It was raining. It was nasty outside, and I commuted into the city, and I'm walking through, and this one short girl really, with the umbrella, really caught my eye.
Yeah. I like that. That was funny. You know what makes me smile?
What makes you smile? The muscles of your mouth.
The muscles on my face. Yeah.
I know. Saw that one coming. You know how I saw that one coming?
With your eyes.
The optic nerves.
Yeah, exactly. All right. These are the jokes, folks. Glad you tuned
Yes.
in. All right. So
How many have we lost now?
17. No,
We never
all right.
had 17 watching in the first
All right.
place.
Let's talk about some real stuff. All right. So just to foreshadow what we'll be talking about in a couple of weeks, just as a teaser, if you will, there have been some closures, brewery closures.
Well, you're just talking Jersey. We're
all over.
Yeah. Oh, I think you said 3.
No. There have been some closures.
Oh, yeah, some. It's been
my shirt said 3, but I didn't say 3.
Oh, there's this damn optic nerves getting in the way again.
Okay. But so we'll talk about
can't get the Oric ones work,
and also a couple of things that reasons and some discussion on that. We'll get into that and plan on it too, because if you're listening to this, plan on tuning in that night. Hopefully, I'd like you to. We'd like you to, but with questions. Because a back and forth on a night like that is actually engaging. Is very
yeah.
Whatever that meant. Anyway, exactly. But tonight though, we do want to talk about a couple of trips. Dave, where did you head out to last weekend, or was it the weekend before?
Yeah, I don't remember. Where did I go?
I know you were drinking somewhere.
Was I drinking somewhere?
Oh, last Friday night.
This past Friday night, I was in New York City, but
that's what I'm saying. No, yeah, you were at.
No. So I was at Haymaker.
Haymaker, exactly right.
Haymaker. No, this was this past Friday. It wasn't
I said this past Friday.
Yeah, no, I actually went to the city to go see this.
Mm-hmm. Those of you just listening to the audio podcast, Dave's not going to tell you what it is.
No, I'm not going to tell you what this is at all. Actually, because I got distracted because we actually had a comment because someone's actually watching.
There you go. I'll pull up the comment. You say what it was that you held up.
Gene, we're not paying you. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. Is the guest drinker us because Dave Camp was a no-show? Yes, Gene. Yes, it is.
Yeah, Dave Camp, and it was no. I went to see Eddie Izzard do a one. It's not a one-man show; it's a one-woman show now. He identifies as female. I forget what name he's going by now. Is it Susie? Linda?
It's Susie.
It's Susie. Susie Izzard. So that's why it just says Izzard here. So I went to see Susie Izzard do a one-person show of Hamlet in Greenwich. Mm-hmm. But we went to Haymaker first. Had some pretty decent beers there, and I got to say, I've got to get to. I really want to get to Talia. I've not been to Talia. They're doing some pretty good stuff, and I had a smoked Hellas of theirs.
Okay.
And I got to say, it was. I want
to get there. I want to get there myself too. Definitely.
Yeah, they're doing some decent stuff, and Carrie had a habanero goza.
A habanero goza.
Yeah, and they didn't. It's one of those chili beers where they don't throw the heat into it. All you get is the flavor.
Right.
And I love the flavor of habaneros, and that beer was delicious. It was a well-crafted beer. So, but Haymaker is one of those places in New York that if you're in the, that's going to be what, the 30s? The lower 30s. 29. It's either 29 or 30. Yes, I think it's 29th. Yeah. But if 29th, and it's probably between 7th and 8th or 6th and 7th. 6th and 7th, I think.
It's 7th and 8th.
7th and 8th, okay. But the food's really good. I got to say, the food's really, really good there. Mm-hmm. But they've got a really well-curated beer list. I had an Abraxas, a chocolate salted Abraxas.
Chocolate salted Abraxas. I saw you had that. Yes. How was that?
It was a chocolate salted Abraxas. So salted chocolate. So salted chocolate. If you like salted chocolate, the beer was fantastic. If you're not a huge fan of salted chocolate, it was exactly what it's supposed to be. Not to say that I loved it, not to say I hated it, but it's like, okay, that's exactly what it's supposed to be.
So it's a salted chocolatey Abraxas.
Yeah.
So very good.
And that's what they call it.
Right, salted
chocolate Abraxas.
Exactly.
So we're going to say salted chocolate Abraxas another 5 times before we move on.
Salted chocolate Abraxas.
Yes, salted chocolate Abraxas.
Gotcha. All right, we'll cut it at 2. Anyway, I do want to bring this up. You mentioned they had a smoked Hellas, right? Smoked Hellas, smoked lager, smoked Hellas, right? Smoked. The other day, yesterday, as a matter of fact, John Stardomsky, a guest, an often guest on the show here.
The Brew Guru?
The Brew Guru posted on This Week in Route Beer and on his craft beer reviews. He had a smoked amber called Financial Masochism.
Now, there's a reason a brewery would name it that, because the breweries that brew any kind of route beer are taking a chance that that's going to sit in the tanks for about 6 months to 9 to 12 years.
Yeah, you need. You want to. If you're smart, you will brew 2 barrels of it, and only, under the assumption that you're drinking one of them.
Yes,
because
there's as much as we have kid with John Hall that the popularity of route beer has increased tenfold.
It has, though.
But
I don't know about tenfold, but it's increed.
Oh no, I'd say tenfold, because there was about 5 fans of it before he started. That was about 50. Yeah.
Right.
We
Fair
started.
Fair enough.
No, there's more than that.
Yeah, you and I were 2 of the 5, though.
Yes, we were. John was 3, and maybe Dantes was 4, but he's not in this country, so. So, yeah, when you got a low number and you factor it by 10, it's still not that big of a number.
This is true.
But no, it increased. We half joke with him that him creating This Week in Route Beer on Facebook increased the popularity of route beer, and the popularity of his page on Facebook gave more breweries the cojones to brew more route beer.
Correct.
Because they thought it would sell.
And
I'd be interested to know if they're actually seeing it sell quicker than they thought.
I wouldn't mind doing some data on that for a couple of reasons, obviously. But
because John wants to brew one, but he doesn't know if it is actually financial masochism.
We have a comment from Tony Drury. Yo, what's up, Tony?
Tony
Alacron, thank you. Cheers, Alacron.
Alacron. Now we know that Alacron has really no problem with route beers, because he does like his he likes his mezcals.
Yes, absolutely.
So
to finish that comment, though, the smoked amber from called Financial Masochism, the brewery that it was from. Now, granted, remember, John lives down in Georgia. Okay.
Yes, he does.
He was drinking this at home. All right. The brewery that brewed this beer is none other than Fifth Hammer from Queens.
So he got a Fifth Hammer beer.
Yeah, and I didn't even know about the beer, so I've been trying to get in touch with Chris to find out where can we get this beer. So
probably at the brewery.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Tony says, "Howdy, fellas," and he said, "I like smoke in many forms." Yes, he does.
He does.
Well put. They're well put.
Especially when you put a slab of cow over it.
Yeah. Well, and others from there too, in many forms. He's right.
Many forms.
Many forms. As do I. But anyway, so yeah, we'll be having a rack a little later on the show.
Yep.
What's your second beer there? I finish this and I'll pull up my second, and we can talk.
This is another Ghost Hawk. And people who've watched the show know that I really, really like Ghost Hawk, not just because they're right across the street from Red Hut.
It doesn't hurt.
It doesn't hurt at all. I'm not mad at it to steal Matt's line. But and Red Hut's like the #1 hot dog joint in the country. How many years running?
Oh, for almost 100. Look at this. Look at the lacing on this.
That's some great Belgian lace right there.
Look at that.
That's some great protein structure.
Love it.
That's what she said. So this, I love the graphics on this.
That's a cool can.
Anybody who's ever disc jockeyed, John and I both have, but in different types of venues. Mm-hmm. I actually disc jockeyed at a radio station. John has disc jockeyed events and crap. But I really like that. But needle drop, for any disc jockey, needle drop is a scary thing because it just bounces and So anyway, but this beer, this is a New Zealand Pilsner. Mm-hmm. So New Zealand Pilsner is really nothing but a Pilsner with New Zealand hops in it. Right. So you're going to get a little bit more of an earthiness than you will out of most Pilsners, and a touch of lemon, actually.
Nice.
And that's that's the earmarks of a New Zealand hop, right? Earth and lemon.
Earth and lemon, yeah.
And then in Australia.
Right. Well, I mean, they're close enough that,
all of Oceania.
Correct. Exactly.
I like this beer.
Did I put the crawl up for it? No, I didn't. Here you go.
Yeah. No one cares.
Exactly. Except you and I.
Yeah. So what do you got there, John?
All right, had to take the obligatory picture.
I've already taken my obligatory picture.
There you go. So, by the way, one quick tasting note. Great earthy, like bitter hops in this this Amber Keller bread I was drinking. The which I believe they used Saaz in this too. But
so that Saaz usually throws more of a grassy,
little grassy, little earthy, bitter,
Yeah.
but it's nice, but not bad. It's just not bad. Not that's none of that's bad. Not heavy.
Okay.
Just enough to make it dry at the end. It was really nice.
Oh, I like that.
So my second beer I'll be having, and this will lead us into that part of the conversation. It's called Chuffy.
Chuffy.
It's an American brown ale.
Oh, but you're drinking a brown ale? You hate them.
I hate brown ale.
Yeah, hardly. It's probably what, your top 5 styles?
It's definitely my top 5 styles. Yeah. Chuffy. It's a 5.3% American brown ale from Bond Place Brewing in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. And
so where did you get that, John?
I got it at Bond Place Brewing in Bethlehem, Pennsylvania.
That'd be a good place to get that.
That would be a good place to get it, wouldn't you think? And I poured it in, proper glassware. There you go.
That's not Bond Place.
No.
That is a gratuitous.
It's a gratuitous. It's a shameless plug.
It's product placement.
Product placement, yes. Coastal Brewworks. Anyway, but I have yet to drink this. I drank about 8 beers while I was there at Bond Place. They did not have this on tap, so I bought a 4-pack to go. This is the first sip I'm having.
And do we have an American brown? Do we have an English brown?
I'm gonna say it's leaning English, but I can see the direction. In the top line of the comments on the can, it says our interpretation of a brown ale, brewed with malted and rolled barley, malted wheat. So that's definitely making it softer. Hops, yeast, and water. Enjoy fresh from the can or in your favorite glass. Say out of your favorite glass. It says enjoy out of your favorite glass.
That's there you go. Favorite glass?
There you go. Well, no, it's not. But
no, it's not.
For the purpose of product placement, it is.
Yes, it is.
Right. Chuffed to bits, and it's about time, whatever that means. I'm sure it's a Bond Place thing. I didn't get that far with the conversation with them, but hold on a second here. Okay. Anyway, got a comment. I'm trying to get there. But Dave Campanelle, Gene Lynch was my invite. My invite was lost in the mail. There you go.
Yes. It's lost in the ether somewhere.
Lost in the ether.
It's in the interwebs. You know, those tubes that go everywhere.
I have to say, I'm going to take another sip here, but as that opened up, you know what? Yeah, it's definitely leaning English, but I can sense some American notes, and it's good. It's very good. It's very tasty. I'm enjoying it.
American notes in the sense of hops, or
it's at the end. There's a little hop presence at the end, so it doesn't. So it's like cloying, so it doesn't linger. The sweetness doesn't linger. There's a little sweet up front, a little caramel, little bit of toffee, very little bit of chocolate, not much roast. It's not super sweet, but it's a tinge sweet. It's tasty though. It's very nice. It's bready. It's bready more than anything.
Like brown bread, rye
bread, brown bread, like brown bread, like it's brown bread. Yeah,
like in the B&M can,
like the B&M can of brown bread. Yeah, exactly. But there's a little bit of hop presence right at the end. It just like it's there. It's fading. The bread is fading. And I know we don't do this on the show, right? But tonight we're doing it.
Yeah, we rarely ever really break down a beer.
But whatchamacallit. But as the sweetness is, or the bread, I should say, is fading, boom, there's a little bit of hop. There's a little bit of hop bitterness, and then it dries right out.
Yeah. So John, we're getting back to our beginnings, like we said earlier, when we first started, John and I started to do that. Mm-hmm. That's what we were doing. Yep. But then every now and then we talk about the industry, and we got some feedback from viewers that it's a lot more interesting when you talk about the industry. So that pretty much sent us in the direction that we've gone, because the comment was, no one wants to sit there and watch someone taste a beer and talk about everything it tastes like because they're not drinking the same beer and shut up. Exactly. And we agreed with that comment. Like, okay, yeah, you're right. So that's why we concentrate on the industry of craft beer. more than anything, and also shenanigans with a touch of malarkey.
Exactly.
Actually, not a touch, a whole lot of malarkey. So, so I'm not going to do that to my beer, because to quote one of our friends, just drink your fucking beer.
Just drink your fucking beer. That's it. Exactly. So anyway, but this is spot on. So let's talk about that for a minute. So Bond Place. Now we hit a bunch of breweries while we were up there. We hit Lost Tavern. Now I've been to Lost Tavern in the downtown area of Bethlehem before, which
the sandwich shop.
Lost Tavern.
Isn't Lost Tavern in the sandwich shop?
It's in the bookstore.
What's the one that's in the sandwich shop?
I'm not sure. You might be talking about Lost Tavern, but it's actually in a bookstore or it's off to the side of a bookstore. So right. And they have they don't have
the sandwich shop anymore.
They have like a sushi Asian fusion kind of deal restaurant as part of they share space.
Oh, maybe they just changed their food vendor.
They may very well have. Yeah. It's just a tap room for Lost Tavern. Their main brewery is in the next town over in Hellertown.
Yep.
And so I had
that's on the way out to the caverns.
Right, it's on the way out to the
Lost River Caverns.
Lost River Caverns, yes. So, ironically, the first thing we did when we got to town was...
Did you go to the caverns?
We went to the caverns, yes.
Yes.
Did a Lost
River. The caverns are cool. I like the caverns.
They're very cool. They're very cool. Looked at all the stalactites and stalagmites.
And how do you remember the difference?
Yeah. I remember it this way, okay? This is how I remember it. Stalactites and stalagmites. The C in stalactites, ceiling... The G in stalagmites, ground.
That's a good way to do it. The way I do it, stalactites, I take the T, top.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's and that's how they said. The woman there, she was given. I've heard this before too. Stalactites, T. They hang tight. They hang tight to the ceiling.
That's another way to do it. I guess.
Right?
Okay.
But I'm going all the way back to grammar school. And the C for ceiling and stalactites and the G for ground and stalagmites. That's what my science teacher in grammar school taught us, and that stuck, right? And I'd gone to caverns even as a kid, and I went to the Luray Caverns in Virginia. They were big caverns. I mean, you compare them if you've been to the
Luray's, pardon the pun, cavernous.
It's very cavernous. Yes, huge. I mean, you're walking in these huge caves.
Huge. They're the best caverns ever. Everyone says so.
Yes. Exactly. Anyway, but
one of my favorites is never mind. Keep going.
Anyway, but I remember even there them saying that too. So I guess they got away from that. They don't do that anymore. But in any event, we went to Hellertown. We went to the Lost Tavern there. Great beer. I mean, Lost Tavern makes great beer.
Yeah.
Went over to.
I do like Bond better.
You've been to Bond.
I've been to Bond, and I've had 4 beers by Bond.
Mm-hmm.
All of them I ranked over 4. One was a New England Hazy IPA. Mm-hmm. One was American Pale. One was a Session Bitter. But those were all at 4.25. My favorite one, big surprise, was their Simcoe IPA called Nice Time Simcoe.
Right, exactly.
So I like Lost Tavern makes some really good stuff though. But I think for me, for my taste, Bond just edges them out.
Bond edges them out. Yeah, I'm just going back to my check-ins for Bond. We went to Hop Hill after Lost Tavern. I don't know if you've been there.
No, I haven't.
Good beer, good solid beer. And we actually met the mayor. I won't even say of what town, but the mayor of an eastern Pennsylvania town. Okay, and great guy. We sat and had a few beers with him at Hop Hill. But anyway, then we went to lunch at whatchamacallit? Social Still. Social Still. More on that after the beer talk.
Gotcha.
Then we popped to Country Club Brewing, which was literally a half a block away from Social Still, and had a few beers there. And what's funny is I had heard once before of Country Club Brewing, hadn't ever had anything from them, and had forgotten about them until we were actually sitting in Social Still, and we're like, oh, they said Country Club Brewing is like right around the corner. Oh yeah, I heard of that. So we went over there, and what's ironic is, as small of a place as it is, they had a collab on tap that they did with Weathered Souls.
Very
And Marcus
nice.
Baskerville went up to the brewery. I'm like, oh my god, and it was very good.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, in fact, I had it. Let's see, did I? Somewhere in there. Anyway, I'll find it. But yeah, Bond Place. It was amazing. I had a mild shock. I had a mild, right?
Oh, you had a mild shock. Like
I had a mild. I had a Pilsner.
Was it a
wheat beer,
110 volts got you? There was a loose wire somewhere that hit you. You got a mild shock.
Exactly.
And Bond Place, if you go there, it is one of the coolest buildings.
Yeah.
If you're over 7 foot, you're going to have to duck a lot because the ceilings are very low. It's an old building.
Yeah, it's so cool though. The English strong ale they had was amazing.
Here's the thing: if you ever go to Steel Stacks for a concert, go to Bond first.
Yeah,
because they're right there.
It's right there. You get to park in the lot, walk over to Bond Place.
Yep.
And you can even hit Country Club on the way back too. So Country Club's right there. Like Dave, you know where the museum is before, like on the one road before you go over to the other. Like there's a big parking lot between where the road that Bond Place is off of and Steel Stacks. Okay.
Yes.
Okay. In the middle section of
I never
land,
knew about the museum there.
There's a museum national. It's the National Industrial Museum or Industrial Technology Museum, something like that.
Oh yeah. No, I know that. I've never been to it.
Right. Social Still's directly across the street from that, and like on that side street is where Country Club is. So
Gotcha.
But anyway, so fantastic. Actually had dinner at a place called F and F and ampersand A. F and A. Right. Good food, great beer. Had a bunch of stuff. Actually had St. Bernardus 12 on tap there. Fantastic.
That's always a good thing.
Yeah, it is. And then the next day we did Fagley's for lunch. Had a couple beers, and then we went up to Seven Sirens. Good beer there too. Good beer at Seven Sirens. So we did a bunch of other stuff too. But the main thing that I got to tell you is all the beer was very good. Nothing was bad. But Bond Place was definitely my favorite. Bond Place is definitely brewing really good beer. So, and I'm glad I'm drinking this right now. I'm glad I bought this. This is fantastic.
Excellent. I am happy for you.
I bet you are. So back to the Social Still.
Social Still.
Bought a bottle while I was there. I bought a bottle of Sasquatch.
And what would be Sasquatch?
Sasquatch is a vanilla maple bourbon. Now,
well, that sounds not awful.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's not a flavored bourbon. Okay.
Oh,
they make their bourbon. They make their bourbon. Well, I mean, it's a flavored bourbon, but it's not like they add vanilla flavoring and maple flavoring to their bourbon, right? It's right. They take their bourbon and they finish it in maple in second use or third use at that point, like bourbon barrels that had maple syrup in them, and now they put their bourbon back in.
Gotcha.
Okay, so maple bourbon barrels, like
so they have double bourboned,
right? So so they get they're pulling the maple out of the wood, right, and they're pulling more vanilla out of the wood, but they add Madagascar vanilla beans.
I see.
Okay,
very cool.
So that's it's got vanilla, it's got pronounced vanilla more so than a bourbon would.
Vanilla.
Well,
you asked me to pronounce vanilla.
I see what you did.
Sorry.
You know how I saw what you did?
You have optic nerves.
Optic nerves, right there. You go.
How many people have we lost now?
Actually gained a few.
Oh,
imagine that. So my point being, and this a nice maple flavor. So I did a couple cocktail shows over the weekend with Tom. One late Friday night and one early Saturday evening.
Yes, that was Saturday evening because I didn't join because I was in the movie theater.
You were in the movie theater. Oh no, you were.
Yeah, I was.
You were in the movie theater or Rutt's Hut?
No, I was in the movie theater when you texted me. I was watching Dune 2.
Oh right, yes.
And I'd answered because when I only answered when I got out.
Right. Whatchamacallit. So, and I had it on the show. I'd had it a couple times, but the only time I had it before the first show is I had it just straight. I had it neat, if you will. Great notes and everything else. But I had it.
I just want to comment what John just did there. He said I had it straight, then he switched to neat. Because I'm not sure everybody understands the difference between that. When you order something straight, it's shaken over ice, then the ice is strained. That's straight. Right. Neat means just pour it out of the bottle into my face.
Right.
That's all that means.
I was correcting myself because that's all I did. It was in my.
I know why you did it because I know
right.
you know this. It's just just for those who think that you order something straight that is coming out of the bottle, going to glass, going to you. No, they shake it over ice first.
Right. So it's fantastic.
If they know what they're doing.
I had it with rocks on Friday night, and on Saturday I made my one of my nocinos. So I had my black walnut liqueur with it, so it was pretty good.
That would make that would probably make a fabulous Manhattan.
That's my next. That's the next one. Tom had a couple of Manhattan inspired cocktails, so they weren't traditional cocktails.
Right.
He did a Manhattan with I forget. I got to go back and look. It was a chocolate inspired one, and it was something else. They were pretty good. So we did those shows, but more on that. You and I will talk about something Tom and I were talking about possibly doing in the future. But the Friday night
should I be afraid?
No, not at all. Not at all.
So there's no potential jail time involved?
No, not at all.
Okay.
A ticket here and there, but no jail time.
To Paradise?
2. Yeah, exactly.
But there's 3 of us, so one of us
one has to stay home every now. We'll rotate.
Okay.
We'll rotate. Anyway, so but the Friday night show was we did a beer and a bourbon. Beer and a bourbon. All right.
One bourbon, one scotch.
No scotch, just one
scotch.
bourbon.
Oh, okay. Right. That's right, because he doesn't have any scotch right now.
No. And I only have a little left of one bottle of scotch. That's all I have left. I gotta get on it. I haven't bought a bottle in a while.
Well, okay. PSA for all of our listeners. Today is March 5th.
It is.
You got 12 days for St. Patrick's Day. Get your Irish whiskey now.
Mm-hmm. Actually had. Well, more on Irish whiskey in a minute. Let me finish what I'm saying first. Actually, ironically, the beer I had with the bourbon on Friday night, what style do you think it was?
Was it a barrel-aged stout?
No.
Oh. Was it a smoked beer?
No.
Was it a beer that's in your hand?
Was it this beer? But it was a
brown ale.
It was a brown ale, right? So,
it's not ironic. That's not irony. You need to look up the word irony. You'll use that word a lot. I don't think it means what you think it means.
I don't think that word means what you think it means. I love that movie.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. So all in all, the Bethlehem trip was a great trip, and I got to tell anybody that's in North Jersey or anybody within earshot of Jersey, within reasonable driving distance to Bethlehem, Pennsylvania, go. There's a lot of good liquid in more ways than one. There's a couple good wineries too, other distilleries, and there's a lot of fun things to do. Just even not even going to see a concert at Steel Stacks, just walking past all of that,
that metal,
that ominous metal at Steel Stacks is just amazing. It really is.
Yeah, it's it's right next to the casino.
Yeah, it's like 6 blocks away from Wind Creek.
Yeah, so you've got that.
Formerly Sands, but now
formerly Sands.
Mm-hmm.
But that's on the south side of the river. You get to the north side of the river. That's downtown Bethlehem.
Right, exactly.
And they've got some neat shops. They've got some really bougie restaurants, and many of them in a good way.
Oh yeah. And there's some cool non-bougie restaurants too.
Yeah.
But the bougie ones, none of them are too bougie. If you will.
No, it's not. It's still Bethlehem. And there's 2 times to go to Bethlehem. If you don't mind crowds so much. One, during Christmas, because they take their name very seriously, and they really, really do it up for Christmas. 100%.
And
then there's Music Fest. And if you've not been there for Music Fest, it's just there's free concerts going on all the time.
Yep.
But there's also paid for concerts. They usually get a big headliner every night.
Mm-hmm.
And you can get a big mug. You buy a big mug, fill it full of Yingling. And once you've bought that, then you pay hardly anything to refill it with Yingling.
Right.
And the thing is, you can bring it from year to year to year.
Yeah, you can do that. You don't have to buy another one. Just bring it back with you.
And then you give it to them, they'll give you the refill price.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's something like it's like a 24-ounce mug, and it's like a $3 fill.
Yes,
something along those lines.
It's not bad at all.
Yeah, it's don't quote me on that, but I think it's somewhere along those
something
lines.
like that. It might not be exactly that, but something like that.
Yeah, something along those lines. It's nuts. You can get really, really, really tanked, but you can see all different types of music there. It's you can go see a jazz trio in one of the auditoriums.
Mm-hmm.
You can go up to the Steel Stacks music venue, and see a blues band just really, really kicking it. There's the outdoor venue, which is in front of all that impressive steel that's left, and just see bands just having a whole lot of fun. Or you can get into the concert venue itself, pay, and it's not cheap, to see the headliners that are going to be there. So it's a lot of fun, and all this happens on both sides of the river.
Yep.
It's not just around Steel Stacks. You get up into downtown Bethlehem, and they got stages set up all through town,
throughout the town.
Yeah.
So, and on another note, not that that's not enough reason,
but there's more.
But wait, there's more. If you're like me and you enjoy the
if you are like you, or if you like you,
if you are like me,
gotcha.
And like last week was National Cigar Day?
Yeah, it was National Cigar Day.
So I did the I was almost gonna light the cigar, but I didn't. Anyway,
that was
if you like cigars, Cigars International is a big place further out in Pennsylvania. They have a store with a lot of product in downtown Bethlehem, and they smoke in the store, and you can bring it outside and walk around town. It's beautiful. And here's the thing: this is really cool. Now, I like a lot of different kinds of music. There's not that many kinds of music I don't like. There are a few.
There's a few for me that I don't particularly appreciate.
I can appreciate everything, except for maybe one or two specific songs in certain styles. But we'll leave that. Yeah. There's that. But anyway. I do ironically, I know, here I go again, using the word ironic.
Was it the word of the fucking day?
Oddly, I do actually, okay? Dave knows I'm a big prog rock fan. I'm a big, Rush is probably my number one band of all.
No, it's not. Rush is a passion. Rush is a religion. It's not your number one band. It goes through every pore and core and cell of your being.
Much more better put there.
Much more better put. Look, I'm glad you didn't do that last week, because last week was was it yesterday was National Grammar Day?
Yesterday was National Grammar Day. Much more better put.
Much more better put.
But yeah,
actually,
I speak English very goodly.
Actually, that would have actually been proper grammar, I think, in German. I think that's the sentence.
You might do it like that.
I'm not kidding around. I think that's actually how it would be.
It might be. So, point being, it
would be put much better.
I'm a big jazz fan. Okay, I'm a big jazz fan. Okay.
Yeah.
There are speakers
because you like Purple and Yellow, and you've always John Stockton, John the Mailman Malone.
Exactly, Karl Malone. Absolutely,
Karl Malone. Yeah.
But no, not just Utah. We're even going back to New Orleans for those of you as old as we are.
Oh God.
But and there's some people out there saying the Jazz were in New Orleans. What?
That's why they're called the Jazz.
Exactly.
I got news for you. The Lakers did not start in L.A. They started in Minnesota. That's why they're called the Lakers.
The Lakers, right?
Because how many lakes are in L.A.?
Right, exactly. So, anyway. in any event, I'm a big jazz fan. Throughout the downtown area of Bethlehem, there are speakers throughout downtown,
standing on soapboxes, talking about politics and
audio speakers.
Those
throughout downtown, like the trees throughout the downtown or whatever, with like lights facing up on them. There's speakers in every single one of those. And as you're walking around downtown, there's jazz playing all over Bethlehem. It's really cool.
It's a neat thing. Oh man.
So, but anyway, so yeah, if you can get there, go. Just go, enjoy it.
Yeah.
You'll go more than once. And Easton's not that far away, and there's a couple good places in Easton too. So you can make a day. You can make a day out of it. You can make a weekend out of it.
Yeah, there's I still think that Easton may have been houses the first brewery I ever went to. I still to this day, I think it was Weyerbacher.
Mm-hmm. Montreal houses the first brewery I ever went.
Yes, and it's still there,
and
it's still massive.
It still is huge.
But no, Weyerbacher. Two Rivers.
Two Rivers is there.
Pretty damn good beer. Amazing burgers.
Yeah, exactly.
Really good fries.
And there's a distillery in town too, in Easton. Mm-hmm. And I think there's another brewery too. I think another brewery up there. Plus, if you go over the bridge from Easton into Phillipsburg, in Veritas.
The other one that was in Easton, I think may have possibly closed.
They may have. I know there was another one. I know they closed. I think something else opened in their place. They may have closed as well. I'm not sure.
Yeah, because Carrie and I had actually drove past to go to it, and I forget what the name of it used to be.
It used to be Some. SOME.
Right.
That's years ago.
That's years ago. And then it changed into a very controversial brewery if you were a New Jersey craft beer fan. Because they had this particular brewery had a bottle club.
Yep.
Right, and you paid into it.
And Dave just said it. He goes, "It was Separatist." You're right. Separatist closed.
And when Separatist closed, was that the one in Easton or was the one that was in Jersey? No, the one in Jersey. I can't remember the name of the one in Jersey. But Separatist, they closed in Jersey, opened in Easton under a different name, and did not honor the bottle club whatsoever.
No.
And people had paid in for it, and they paid it for the year, and they moved mid-year. So a lot of the people that enjoyed Separatists were really, really, really pissed off.
Little perturbed, shall we say?
Yes, irked.
They were irked. They were certainly irked.
But yeah, no, Separatists closed. We went looking for it once and pulled up outside where it was, and looked. It was right here. Swear to God, I parked it right here.
Right there. It was there. I know it was there. So, but in any event, there's a lot to do right there. There really is. Yeah. So go. And you can go from there. And I just want to go out and say, and I've said this before on the show. Hold on, we might have another comment pertaining to that. Yeah, it was the Separatist was in PA. The other one was Two Rivers.
Well, Two Rivers is the other one in town. Yeah, the other one in town is Two Rivers. We just talked about that. That's the one with the great burgers. Great burgers in there. Yeah. Talk about and county seat is the distillery you're talking about.
And if you know, I mean, one of my normal glasses that I use on the show for drinking out of is a Two Rivers glass too. So it is. So.
I don't remember that.
It is. If you if you go and look at my article I did on all the brown ales on the Log Room website, every brown ale I poured into my Two Rivers glass. There you go. You're cracking a beer. I got to finish this one. I'm not going to say.
I'm not going to say it. I'm just going to pour it because we're
drinking the same beer together.
We're drinking the same beer, so I'm going to wait for John. It's very possible we're drinking out of the same glass, not the same physical. It's the same logo to glass.
You know what?
You didn't.
I didn't.
You just ruined that whole thing.
I can if you give me a minute.
It's not going to take you a minute.
No, but I gotta go get it and then wash it. That's why I didn't do it at all.
See, this is. Don't tell John, but this is my way to win the sitting competition.
Exactly.
Get him to stand up and go wash a glass.
Or I could just, you know what? I can always take myself out of the feed and you can talk for a minute while I wash it. But you can't prove that I did stand up.
Oh, you're just gonna roll away in your chair, and I want you to leave your microphone on so we can hear you go down the stairs.
Yeah, I actually used it the other day, and it is not clean yet.
Okay,
I was running. I'm like, I can't wash it. I'm not washing it.
Okay, so you'll leave me to rep.
So you rep it.
I'll rep it,
and we will.
So let me know when you're ready to go with it.
Give me another minute because this brown ale is too good to just down the rest of it. I just want to take 2 other sips.
Chug.
There you go.
I'm not gonna do that.
But to finish what I was saying before, though, Dave mentioned that you get the glass for Music Fest. You're walking around with it, and you get your refills of Yingling, right?
Yeah. Well, there's other options, but
there are other options.
There are no other options.
There aren't. Yeah.
Listen, you're in Pennsylvania. You're drinking Yingling, and all the other stuff tends to be all the rest of the stuff is big beer.
Sure. Yeah. No. But my point being, which is amazing because there's a lot of really good craft beer in Pennsylvania, and there's a lot of really great craft beer in Bethlehem. Why they don't involve that is beyond.
I don't know. Yeah, they really need to get them involved.
But in any event, my point is, and I've said this before on the show, and if you haven't heard it though, I'll say it again right now. If you have not gone out even just once, just once, you owe it to yourself. Go out to Yingling. It's in Pottsville, Pennsylvania. All right. Pottsville, yeah.
Okay.
It's about an hour, maybe a little less than an hour west of Bethlehem.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe 45 minutes, 50 minutes, no traffic. The bulk of that is more or less like a secondary road, not a side street, but not a highway, getting up to Pottsville. But it's the oldest brewery in New Jersey, in the United States.
It's in Pennsylvania, but it's the oldest brewery in New Jersey.
Exactly, right.
That's ironic.
There you go. That's irony right there for you, fella.
No, it's not. That's still not irony.
Still irony.
We're about as ironic tonight as as the song from Alanis Morissette.
There you go. Isn't it? There you go. If you're Dave Campanell just said, if you're from Pennsylvania, it's called lager, not Yingling.
It's just straight up lager.
Just lager. But you owe it to yourself.
It's like what do they call Mexican food in Mexico? Food. Yeah.
You owe it to yourself to go out to Pottsville. It's the oldest brewery in the United States.
The tour is so cool.
The tour is cool. They built the place in 95 years ago. It opened. Okay. Mm-hmm. All right. In 5 years, in 2029, it'll be 95 years ago. 195 years ago, they built the place. They built the place in 1829. Okay, it opened. All right, so 195 years ago. So in 5 years, this place will be 200 years old. Okay, the bicentennial of this brewery will be in 5 years. Okay.
Yep.
Go. All right. It's really cool. You talk about caves, right? You go into this brewery, part of the tour. They take you down into the caves. That's where in 1829 there was no refrigeration.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when they kegged the beer, they put it down in the caves. That was the refrigeration. Yep. Caves, right? So you go through all of that. It's really cool. Go, just go. It is.
Yep.
And technically, according to the Brewers Association, Yingling is a craft brewery.
Still is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was a good burp.
Kudos on the burp. All right, I finished. I will pour now. So let me get the beer out. You can rep the glass.
I will rep the glass. Well, John,
I screwed up. I'm sorry to myself.
What'd you do?
I didn't wash the glass.
Oh, that.
Yeah,
okay. They're talking about the glass now.
And Dave Campanell said, "Road trip in 5 years. You know it. I
don't know if you want to get anywhere near Pottstown in 5 years.
Well, I'm sure there's not going to be a party going on every day of the year. We'll have to pick one time to get out there. So
yeah, but I'm sure they're going to have a massive party.
I'm sure. Well, whenever they do have the party, I'm not going.
Yes.
At some other point, I will go. Right.
Yeah, that's going to be that might be fun. It might be worth it. It's I don't know. Maybe in 16 years we'll take a trip to Freising.
Oh, definitely, 100%.
1,000 years old. Can you imagine how insane that'll be? So everyone can see that John's opening this right here.
Mm-hmm.
We can see the can up there.
I will throw it. I will throw the crawl up so people can see what it is. There you go.
So we got a little store here, Ike Schlenkerla Erla, and this is a smoked Schwartz beer. So John and I both like our elk beer, and dark lagers are right at the top of our list of styles. That's definitely Tomave Pivo is definitely my number one. I don't know if Schwartz is John's number one. I think
Schwartz is my number one. Tomaves of this style. Tomaves.
But I think your number one sticker alts.
My number one sticker alts. Yeah.
Yeah, but Schwartz beers are probably either 2 or 3. So when we talk about repping, what I mean here is I've poured mine into my This Week in Rauch beer glass. Mm-hmm. And for those of you guys, it's pronounced Rauch beer. No, it's pronounced Rauch beer.
Rauch beer, yeah.
It is Rauch beer. And so repping for the Facebook page. If you like Rauch beer and you're not on that page, get on the page.
Get on the page. Get on the page. Get on the page and get the glass and the hat and the pin and the shirt.
And the hat and the pin and the shirt and
right.
Anything else to support John Hall financially?
I poured mine. I felt like because I felt like I had to pour it in my Tiku
because it was clean.
Because it was clean and it's cool looking. And I drank on the show. I drank a Rauch out of this, and it actually it opened up nice, and the flavors kind of the way the glass is shaped. So, but anyway, so yes, so
Prost.
Prost. There you go. Oh my God. Oh, I need more of this. I haven't taken a sip yet. I need more of this. You got two. I got one.
I just need a moment. Just
give us a minute.
Holy hell! This is maple black pepper bacon.
Yeah, I need to find I got to get a case of this. I'm not kidding.
I want to swim. You
want to split a case?
We should, something. Yeah. I would definitely split a case. This is fantastic. And I really, really hope in
oh my God,
in a month and a half,
I want to drink that with breakfast tomorrow with maple pepper bacon. Yeah,
right. Because there's a little slight sweet component to it. Mm-hmm. There's a phenolic component to it, mm-hmm. and there's that. This is meat.
Yep.
Holy. Okay, I've got a new favorite Schlenkerla.
Yeah.
And the thing is, I knew damn well that this would probably wind up as my new favorite. And I was really terrified that I'd be disappointed. I am not at all disappointed. I think that's amazing.
This is amazing. This is fantastic. Excuse us while we fanboy out for the next.
Yeah, we're this is beautiful. Damn, that's beautiful.
Yeah, that's
and John, so I will probably more than likely in a month and a half mm-hmm. evoke a double-barreled middle finger from John.
Because he'll be having this at the brewery.
At Domberg. Hopefully they still have it on tap. They have it on tap currently. And if they have it on tap there, I will be going there for lunch on I think it's the 14th of April. Mm-hmm. Yes, 14th of April. I'll be there for lunch, and this and a pork knuckle.
There you go.
And Carrie will be ordering the Bamberg onion.
Well, you have to order the Bamberg onion.
Yeah, and this would go fantastic with the Bamberg onion, actually. Mm-hmm. And I'm not a big fan of onions, so this is.
Because I'm a big fan of onions. I am.
Oof! This is. I may not finish this by the end of the show because I just want to savor it.
Yeah, this is one of those. This is one of those beers that you want to do two things with, right? Number one, you don't even want to take a sip of it because you just want to smell it. Mm-hmm. You want to get all in the. You want to get all the smell units.
The olfactory.
The olfactory. You want to get
not the old factory.
The old
factory.
Old factory. OL. No D. OL. Factory. And just keep smelling it, right? And then when you're done smelling it, you drink it. When you finish drinking it, you want to break open the glass and lick the inside of it. This is fantastic.
So there's a little story behind this because John Starodumkis kept posting this up all the time. I saw it on This Week in Rauch Beer all the time. Like, I need to get that. So John knows that I traveled a good chunk of northern Jersey looking for this. Mm-hmm. No one had it.
Nope.
My usual go-to in Boonton had the full line of Schlenkerla.
Except for this.
Yep. So John was in Greenwich. Mm-hmm. And
at Blind Tiger.
So he went a couple
for an event.
He went a couple blocks east and turned.
You didn't want to mention the event.
You want to mention the event, John?
It was a tapping of the Coastal Brew Works alternate endings collab of beer from the Black Lagoon at Blind Tiger. So it's technically the first beer that Coastal Brewworks had anything to do with poured in New York City. So we had to be there.
Is so effing cool.
Mm-hmm. So, but when we were done,
he went east on Bleecker Street.
Mm-hmm. Want to go over see Shane?
Southeast
on Bleecker Street and made a right on
onto
Carmine Street. Right.
Yeah.
Want to go see Shane? Shane was not there at Carmine Street Beers, and they had it.
They had 2 cans.
Mm-hmm.
So John picked up 2 cans, presumably for him and me. However, he was with Matt Patensky and Matt.
Matt wanted one.
Matt took possession of the second.
Right.
So I was like, fuck Matt. Goddamn. So the Friday that I was at Haymaker and went to see this show, Eddie, Susie Izzard doing Hamlet.
Eddie Susie Izzard.
Carrie was with me, and she's had recent foot surgery, so I knew she couldn't walk that because those are actually kind of long blocks.
They are very long blocks.
So we got on the subway. She went to the theater.
Keep in mind, I've actually walked from the mid 60s on the west side all the way down to like the lower east side, like Houston Street and like Avenue C.
Okay,
that's a long walk.
That's a bit of a walk, but
a bit of a walk.
But you didn't have surgery on your Achilles tendon.
Correct.
So, the subway station is right near the theater. So she went there, and I hoofed it real quickly to Carmine's. Mm-hmm. And again, they only had 2 cans.
Maybe they put 2 out at a time.
I don't know. And I said, I will take both of them. And I'm looking at the beer list there. I'm like, God, I want a beer. But I had 4 at Haymaker. I'm already half asleep. I will fall asleep in the middle of Hamlet.
Right.
And no, I can't.
Right in the middle of tomorrow and tomorrow and tomorrow creeps in its petty pace from day to day to the last syllable of recorded time. And all of our yesterday's lighted fools, the way to dusty death. Out, brief candle. I won't continue. Never mind.
That was impressive, though. I have to give you that.
Out, brief candle. Life is but a shadow. A poor player struts and frets his hour upon the stage and then is heard from more. It is a tale told by an idiot.
Keep going.
Full of sound and fury, signifying nothing.
There it is.
There you go.
And it's funny because when we were watching the show, we were in the front row, actually. We were so close to the stage, I could smell Izzard's perfume. White jasmine, by the way.
There you go.
I'm not kidding.
You're good.
I'm not kidding.
You're good. Did he tell you, or you just knew it was?
No, I just knew that's what it was. One of my grandmother's favorite perfumes.
Oh wow.
It's really good perfume. But that's how close we were, and every now and then when he
changing your name to the Scent Samurai.
There we go. He'd get into one of the soliloquies. Carrie would look over at me because she could sense, because I had my arm around it. She could feel
SCENTS.
Yeah. No, SENSE. Talking about my arm, and she'd feel that it's kind of moving a little. She'd look and she'd see, and just, kind of start to laugh a little bit because I'm mouthing the words with her with Susie Izzard. It was really fantastic. But anyway,
Hamlet is my favorite Shakespeare.
It's my favorite as well. Yeah. So, but I walked away with 2 of these smoked Schwartz beers, and I am so happy that I did. I wish he'd had more. I may have. No, because I could only put them in my backpack, so I could have probably only bought. Yeah, the picture you got, John, was inside my backpack.
That was inside your backpack.
Yeah, that's where those 2 beers were. So,
gotcha. Fair enough.
We need more of this.
We're gonna have to find it. Whoever finds it, whatever we can get, half of it's one of ours, half of it's the other one of ours. No matter which of us gets it.
Yeah, we got it. We got to get. So, that's yum yums.
All right. While we enjoy this, I think we should do the top 3 that we landed on. What do you think?
Oh yeah. So this was John's idea, and right away I'm like, okay,
done,
done deal.
As you know, with the top 3, it gets harder and harder. This is show 171. So after 171 top 3 lists, it gets harder and harder to find an actual unique top 3 list, right?
Right.
Category anyway. So occasionally it's not a beer related list. Tonight's one of those times.
Right.
So tonight's top 3 list is top 3 favorite 70s sitcoms. Top 3 favorite 70s sitcoms. And we can expand on this, right? We can do 60s, 80s, 90s, and so forth and so on, right? But tonight is 70s. Top 3 favorite 70s.
Yes, tonight is
sitcoms.
70s.
So, Dave, kick it off for us.
I'm probably going to destroy everything that John's going to come up
Well,
with.
which is why I have a longer list. My number one's my number one.
My number one, my number one will never change. And
my number one's my number one.
And if we have the same number one, so
be it. But I will adjust my honorable mentions if need be, and my 3 and 2 based on Dave's.
Don't do that. Just put out whatever you want.
Fair enough.
I will put this up front. There are 2 sitcoms from the 70s that were groundbreaking and 2 of the greatest sitcoms that have ever been filmed. Ever. As far as I'm concerned,
and they're as great as you say they are, they're both of your honorable mentions, right?
No, one of them is my number one.
Right.
One of them is an honorable mention, and the reason being is you're talking about the 70s. John and I weren't even teenagers yet, so one of them I didn't quite get how important this sitcom was as a kid, and I'm talking about All in the Family.
That's your number one. You're just saying number one. Right?
No, it's not my number one at all.
Oh, this is your honorable mention.
This is an honorable mention because it's not on my list because I didn't get it at the time. I did because the thing is, when you're that young, you don't understand racism, you don't understand sex, you don't understand any of these things, so you don't understand how brave this show was to portray an Archie Bunker character, right? And the bravery of Carol O'Connor to play that role, to say, "Yeah, I'll do this." That's one of the. I still to this day think it's the most important sitcom that was ever written. But I'm going with my top 3 that were my 3 favorite to watch when I was a kid, when they were out. Okay, so when we do that, that puts me at, and I'll give my honorable mentions after you, John, if they're not mentioned. Only if they're not mentioned, but I know one of them will be.
But you already have one honorable mention. That's All in the Family.
Yes, that's All in the Family. So number 3, What's Happening? I absolutely love Hey, Hey, Hey. This theme song to this day. And to this
Doobie Brothers as guest stars on the show.
How many sitcoms had Michael McDonald on it?
Taking it to the street.
This was just, I still think that his singing style was take a big friggin' hit and hold it in and then sing.
Yeah.
That's how he sang. Anyway, but I love the show. Loved rerun. Watching.
They were the Doobie Brothers.
Yes, they were the Doobie Brothers. Watching rerun dance. It was so much fun. That whole thing. And then you had Raj, and then I became later on in life became friends with Leon, who looked just like Raj. Right.
Yeah.
I had someone draw a picture of him. I didn't do
Dwayne.
Hey. So that's my number 3. My number 2, and I would watch this. I could watch this show 4 times a day because it was on that often. And that's the Brady Bunch. There's so many things as far as morals are concerned that so many things that I learned morals from. Brady Bunch was one of those, right? There's so many morality stories in the Brady Bunch, but there's so many things that are still in the culture today, like Marsha.
Right, exactly.
And Mom always said never to play ball in the house,
Pork chops and applesauce.
I mean, there's so much that is still around to this day. So Brady Bunch, because I just so enjoyed it as a kid.
Sure.
But number 1, and again, this and All in the Family were the 2 sitcoms that were just so above and beyond as far as what they portrayed, because it wasn't just about the funny. It was about the message. There were some serious aspects to it, and that's MASH. To this day, MASH was just absolutely my favorite, hands down show from the 70s, even into the 80s. Watching the reruns, some of this, just like All in the Family, some of social things that they tackled on that show. It wasn't just hey, we're going out there, we're going to be funny.
Right. Fair enough.
Yeah, so there they are, and we'll see what you go with, and then come back to me, and I'll mention some of the others if you don't mention them.
No worries. We could discuss some others after that. Beyond that, okay. Now, of course, now I'm not going to say. I said my number one's my number one, regardless, right?
Right.
So I'll get to that in a minute. But as far as honorable mentions, or even 3 and 2, especially honorable mentions, okay. But even 3 and 2, I'm not gonna reiterate anything you said, because this is a global list. You and I can both agree on probably all of these anyway.
Probably.
Okay. So what's happening? Absolutely. Brady Bunch. Absolutely. What All in the Family? Forget about it. 100%. Okay. But I'm not going to go there with my list because they've already been stated, right? So I'll give you 2 honorable mentions for me. All right. Okay. And that is Mary Tyler Moore.
That was going to be one of mine. People, this is where Betty White started.
Yeah. Mary Tyler Moore. Great. I mean, there's so many spinoffs that came off of Mary Tyler Moore.
There was. You had Rhoda, right? Maude. No, Maude came out of All in the Family. Sorry.
Maude came out of All in the Family. Rhoda, Phyllis. Lou Grant.
Of course.
Right.
But just think of the cast.
Yeah.
The star of the show, Mary Tyler Moore, was one of the least known to this day, because you had Ted Knight, Lou Grant, Betty White,
Ed Asner.
Yeah, he was Ed Asner. And then of Love Boat fame, Captain Steuben, Gavin MacLeod.
Yeah,
that's where he got his start. So that was a hell of a cast they put together for that.
It was. And speaking of that, I just got to go back to this really quick just to pull this up, because it's important that you see it.
Is this a selfie?
Kind of, sort of, but not just of me. And it's important that you see it. So here we go. So Mary Tyler Moore. Now, Mary Tyler Moore, the show took place in Minneapolis.
It done did.
Right. Okay. So in Minneapolis, they actually have a statue on one of the street corners in downtown Minneapolis, all right, of Mary Tyler Moore throwing her hat.
Throwing that hat.
Okay. So here's Matt and I in front of that statue in Minneapolis. And Matt has his hat up in the air. There you go.
That's beautiful.
There you go. Anyway, so it's almost a couple years ago at CBC. Anyway, so Mary Tyler Moore. My second honorable mention I'm going to give you, Bob Newhart.
It's funny because as I get older, I start to identify more with Bob Newhart, especially the fact that he did calisthenics before going to bed every day, which I should probably do, and maybe I won't be in so much pain all the time.
Right. Exactly. You know what? You talk about that. It's not a bad idea, actually.
Not a bad idea.
I may try that tonight and just see how. I'm going to see if I feel better in the morning or worse in the morning.
How about start it on a day that we haven't had 3 beers already?
That's true. That's probably a good idea. All right, but my top 3. Number 3, big show. Definitely watched it all the time from the first season on and into the 80s, because it went into the 80s too. But obviously the bulk of it was in the 70s, and that's Happy Days. That was another one of my honorable mentions, because I had a feeling that might be on your list. Right. My father, huge 50s guy. I was just talking to Jess. We were a couple of people. So much. There is probably not one 50 song that you could play for me that I can't sing the entire song of. And that's because of my father. And your friends, of course. All right. The jukebox in his basement. Saturday nights, even if we ate dinner at home, we went out for a ride in the car to listen to the Saturday Night Sock Hop on the radio. All right. So yeah, all of that. And then all of his stories too, and the whole 9 yards. But Happy Days, 100%. Because it was just, that was him. That was what, stories that I'd already heard as a young kid. Now I'm watching almost the same kind of developments of these stories in the show. And again, I'm still young, so I'm kind of like, that seems familiar, that kind of John, read the words under the Beer Samurai on the screen. Sit on it. Potsy, yeah. One thing I do love about Happy Days is that, and this is actually probably is irony, is there's so many heroes in the Italian American world
and Arthur Fonzarelli is one of them.
Sure, even though he's Jewish.
But that's where I'm going, because there's so many heroes in the Italian American world that are actually Jewish.
Right. Yeah.
Andrew Dice Clay.
Right.
Jewish. He's not Italian. He looks Italian. He pretends to be Italian. And my favorite of all, Billy Joel.
You sure?
Yeah, he's a hero to the Italian American population. He's Jewish. It's and you got Fonzie as well. But it's just, and we talked about two shows, right? Happy Days and All in the Family. Two of the biggest directors in the 90s. It came from that. Ron Howard and Meathead. Yep.
Rob Reiner.
Rob Reiner, right? Rob Reiner, who responsible for one of mine and John's favorite movies ever. This is Spinal Tap, right?
As well as
Princess
Bride.
Yes. Oh God, yes, and The Princess Bride. Absolutely. Okay, so you're number two.
My number two, and this is just this show started in the 60s and finished in the 70s, but it was more in the 70s. And that's The Odd Couple.
The Odd Couple, not even an honorable mention for me because I didn't really watch it that much.
I watched it all the time, and again, this is a lot of these, especially earlier on in the 70s. These were a lot of shows that I watched with my parents, mainly my father, but my mother too, but a lot with my father. But Odd Couple was just something that, like, to this day, I'll watch. If I'm skimming around the channel, there's nothing on, and one of these channels come on, and Odd Couple, boom, put it on. Done. But yeah, and it's definitely my number two. And those are close too. Happy Days and Odd Couple. Those are a close 2 and 3. You could flip flop them. You can make Odd Couple 3 and Happy Days 2.
Happy Days, I'm almost said is my number 3. But I'm like, no, so I've got a guess for your number 1.
What's
it's in the private chat.
No, I'm going to talk about that in a minute though.
Oh, it is? Okay.
No. I told you my number 1 is my number 1 regardless.
And the thing is, the fact that you didn't mention it as an honorable mention tells me what it is now. Go ahead.
No, it's not. What? Oh. All right, I told you it was in the private chat, wasn't, and you just said.
But there's another one that I think it is. It also has 4 letters.
Did you mention it?
It may have been my number 1.
It was my number 1.
Because when you brought this up, I'm like, John's either going to be MASH or WKRP.
Yeah, no, it's MASH. MASH by far, 100%. It is one of my favorite sitcoms of all time. I could watch that to this day, and I've seen every episode a million times. Hey, look, in high school when the final episode of MASH, it was in February. I believe it was, if I recall, it was February 28th, 1983. It was February 83, but I believe it was the 28th.
The 28th?
That was 28th. Pretty sure it was February 28th, 1983. It was February 83. I could be wrong on the 28th, but I think it was the 28th. But in any event, that was the talk in school all day. You watching MASH tonight? You watching the final episode of MASH tonight? Watching the final episode of MASH tonight?
John, it was February 28th, 1983.
There you go.
Here's the thing. At the time when that episode aired, and the name of that was Goodbye, Farewell.
Goodbye, Farewell, Amen. Right.
When that episode aired, it was the only time any TV show had outstripped the Super Bowl for ratings. It was the highest, and it held that for a long time.
It held it for almost 8 years. The Giants-Bills Super Bowl at the beginning of the Gulf War was the first thing to outrank the final episode of MASH.
And if you would watch MASH on a regular basis and you watched that episode and you were not in tears at the end, you were not a MASH fan. It was
when BJ left him a message in case they didn't get back together in this.
That was the second time I think I started to cry. The first time was when you realized that it wasn't a chicken.
Right.
Oh, oof! That was. You're looking at the writers going, "What the fuck?"
Yeah. What did you?
God damn.
Exactly.
That was something else. That was. But MASH as a whole, again, like All in the Family, took on themes and and social issues that others weren't doing.
Yeah.
Right?
No, they weren't. They weren't. But that's definitely my number one. But the one you brought up,
KRP. Now that's another one that actually every now and then they could get serious.
they could. And it was also that's one that's on that bridge, right? Because it wasn't on. It didn't have like a 10-season run, right? It had like a 5 or 6 season run, and it kind of straddled 1980. So it was a little bit in the 70s,
it was later in the 70s,
yeah. But whatchamacallit, that definitely, for memorable scenes, for memorable episodes, for memorable
of course
things, that, and we say them all the time on the show. I wear a friggin' T-shirt on the Thanksgiving week that,
as God is my witness,
I thought turkeys could fly. Right. That's WKRP in Cincinnati, anyway. So,
but the one episode, one of the most important episodes of that was the episode they ran right after the Who concert in Cincinnati.
Yep.
Where how many people died in that?
Too many.
Where there was a panic, everyone rushed for the exits. The exits were locked. People were crushed to death. It was. And they did an episode, and they did a damn good job of it.
Did a very good job.
They handled it perfectly.
And nobody was expecting it either. You're watching the show that's all about comedy. Like every line is a comedic line, right? You're not expecting this episode by any means. You're not expecting this episode. So
so that was they pulled that one out of somewhere. I've got 2 honorable mentions that you didn't mention, John.
Go ahead. I'll mention a couple others too, but go ahead.
Mork and Mindy.
Yeah.
Okay, so Mork, the character of Mork, who is Robin Williams, got his start on Happy Days.
Right? Mork and Mindy was actually a spin-off of Happy Days.
Absolutely was. Laverne and Shirley was.
Because not only did Robin Williams get his start on Happy Days, but Mork got his start on Happy Days. Mork was a character on Happy Days and became Mork and Mindy, right? Laverne and Shirley was a spin-off of Happy Days.
Yes, Johnny Loves
Chachi was a spin-off of Happy Days, right?
And Al's Place.
And right.
Right. But Mork and Mindy is when you really, really got to see the manic genius of Robin Williams in a more mainstream, and he was actually toned down there. And then they made the mistake of bringing in Jonathan Winters because there was interviews with Pam Dauber, who played Mindy, and they asked her, like, well, what was it like to, act with Robin Williams and Jonathan Winters? Her response was, those two assholes. And she was dead serious. And they're like, well, why do you feel about them that way? They're like, because when the director said stop, they didn't. It just, they were nonstop. I went home from work every day in pain because you spend all day laughing. And you would think that's a good thing. But there's a time where it's just exhausting and it becomes painful because they don't know how to turn it off. They just can't do it. She goes, so maybe assholes isn't the right word, but man, it was painful. But that was a fun show. There was tender moments in that show. There's very funny moments in that show. But another one, and this one was all 70s, and this was straight up 70s. And I loved this show. And there's one major actor that got his start there. Welcome Back, Kotter. That's where Travolta started. And
welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out.
And that the pilot was the best because, you got to know Vinnie Barbarino.
What?
What? When?
Where?
Who?
When?
Right?
Why? How?
So, yeah, and he's just. But my favorite.
Barbarino. Barbarino.
But my favorite was like Freddie Boom Boom Washington. Why do they call you Boom Boom? Because every now and then I have to go boom 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 boom. Then there was Epstein, Juan, 15 names Epstein. Right? I can't go through them all.
Please excuse Epstein from gym class today. He has a doctor's appointment. Signed, Epstein's mom.
And then of course there was Horshack.
Right,
Horshack. I can't do his voice. No one can. That was such a fun show. I think my favorite part of it is every time they went to go see him, they climbed the fire escape and came in through the window.
They came in through the window, yeah, absolutely. And another '70s sitcom that a major actor comedian got his. I don't want to say start on because all of these people did stuff before, but it was more minimal. This was like what kicked them off, right?
The launch,
right?
yeah.
And that's Soap.
Oh God,
Billy Crystal was on Soap, and nobody knew who Billy Crystal was except for maybe people in the acting community, right?
No, not at the time.
And he just blew up and took off, And it was Soap was not as good a show as any of the ones we've mentioned, but it was a solid show.
It was silly as anything.
It was silly as anything. And Benson, Robert Guillaume, yeah, he got his start as there. The butler on Soap and got his own show, Benson, right?
Yep.
And
he played on that show, Benson,
right. So, but yeah, Billy Crystal on Soap, good show.
Another show that really tackled a lot of social issues, but very specific social issues, and that was the state of the Black American community at the time. What they call it was called African American back then. Was Good Times.
Good times,
right? Yeah. Good times.
John Amos.
Oh God, what a hell of a show.
Jimmy Walker.
Yeah. Jeanette Dubois. Yeah. Dynamite.
And then you had the Jeffersons, which was a spinoff of All in the Family. We're moving on up to this side, to the east side, to a deluxe apartment in the sky.
But that's the thing about the 70s. There were so many sitcoms, and as kids, we didn't realize it was a big deal that there were so many black sitcoms. Sanford and Son was another one.
I love it. Sanford and Son was a great sitcom. I love Sanford and
Son. Oh, it's the big one. I'm coming to
Elizabeth. I'm coming to join you. Oh, here's one. Red Fox. You know what his actual last name is?
No.
Sanford.
Well, there you go.
There you go.
That'll do it. But man, that was such a great show. Loved that show. Taxi.
Taxi. Taxi started in the late 70s, so I would.
It did. So it's more. It's more of an 80s.
80s thing. We can get into that when we do 80s, right? But yeah, we'll do that. We'll save that for 80s. Whether it's one of our lists or we just talk about it, we'll save that for 80s. But the other one I was going to mention too is, shit, I forgot. Oh yeah. No, I don't. Damn
Chico
it.
and the Man.
No, well, Chico and the Man. Yeah, I mean, there's so many, right?
Freddie. Was that Freddie Prinze?
Freddie Prinze. Yeah, was in.
Freddie Prinze.
Freddie Prinze and
Jack Albertson.
Jack Albertson. Yeah.
Jack Albertson, the
grandfather in Willy Wonka.
Who automatically. I can't get out of bed. Help me, do everything for me. We're going to Chocolate Factory. Hey, I'm good.
Let's go. Hey. Chico, don't be discouraged. The man, he ain't so hard to understand.
Yeah, and then another one of my favorites.
That's what I was going to say to you.
Barney Miller.
Yeah. Said that. See, this is it. Like the theme songs are like that's part of the show, right?
Yeah, nothing. And because the thing is that today's theme songs are just more ambient.
Right.
I guess is a good word for it.
Some shows don't even have theme songs. They're just
just here you go. Here's the show.
Here's the show. But I was going to say now, are both of our number ones?
Mm-hmm.
MASH.
Yeah.
All right. How many spinoffs did MASH have?
MASH had one.
Which was?
Trapper John MD.
See, I thought you were gonna say the obvious one. It actually had two.
Did it actually have two?
After MASH.
Oh, okay. So the thing about After MASH, I don't want to ever remember After MASH.
I know
that was awful. It was. It's like admitting that there was a sequel to Boondock Saints.
Right.
No, there, and then there was a sequel to Grease. No, there weren't.
Mm-hmm.
No. Okay, technically, were there? Yeah, but no, there weren't because I don't want to.
Well, here's the thing, though. I'll give you this. Now you're right on both accounts, but the sequel to Grease, was not a sequel to Grease.
But it's called Grease 2.
Right. It was a sequel, but in the fact that it was the same principle and it was one of the same characters.
And the brother of one of the actors.
Right. So, and that was it. Other than that, it was a completely different movie, just set in the same kind of time period.
I just don't want to talk about After MASH.
Exactly.
One of the biggest
After MASH was bad.
in my life.
But you're right, though. Trapper John MD
That was not as bad.
No, that was. But it was very. I mean, it was a sequel because of the name and because of what he did in a previous life, right? Yeah. But that's it. Other than that, it's a completely different show. So anyway,
one of the ones that we haven't brought up.
Go ahead.
This was in the lines more along the lines of like a Brady Bunch type of thing. Was Partridge Family?
Sure.
Right, Donnie Bonaducci,
Reuben Kincaid.
Reuben, oh my God, those pants. The pants that he wore.
Susan Day,
who then one became a L.A. Law.
Sure,
right.
She's on L.A. Law with Corbin Burnson, who played third base for the Cleveland Indians in 1989.
He hit the big league.
Right, he hit the major league.
Major league. That's it. Major league. I was close. So close. But you also had. David Cassidy. David Cassidy was a star before
he was
Partridge Family.
He was a star.
Shirley Jones was a star before Partridge Family. So they had a couple stars get in there.
That was a good show too. The bus, everything else. Ruben driving the bus. Yeah, I mean,
No, it was usually Mom drove the bus.
Mom drove the bus. Yeah, you're right.
Mom drove the bus. Ruben just popped up every now and then to tell him that he got.
He was the agent. He was the agent.
He was the agent. Got him a gig or fucked up the gig. One of the two.
So, but yeah. So it was. Yeah. Look, there's so many good shows that come out of a lot of decades. The one actually there. Well, it's not actually. It wasn't a spinoff of anything, but I actually had high hopes for this one sitcom, and I don't even think it lasted a full season. It got canceled, and that was after being such a fan of MASH, right? Mm-hmm. McLean Stevenson, landed a new sitcom.
Oh God, I remember this. Yeah.
Okay, called Hello, Larry.
Yeah, that was not a good show.
It was not good.
It was not a good show.
It was not good. It was not good. So, but look, a lot of good sitcoms, and I think we've mentioned most of them here. But, and I feel bad to not have some of them, like WKRP in Cincinnati. I feel bad to not have it, even on my honorable mentions. But, it's just for what I, watched the most. Like I said, WKRP in Cincinnati kind of straddled the 70s and 80s.
But like I said, I gave the three that I watched more than anything. Mm-hmm. Right, and there'd be an argument. Was Brady Bunch actually a sitcom? Yeah, well, it had a laugh track, of course.
It was a sitcom. It was a sitcom. 100% a sitcom. I just want to see if there's anything we missed to discuss.
There's a few things that we missed, but a lot of these were just like the spinoffs, like Laverne and Shirley, right? And Laverne and Shirley, we talked about. This is Spinal Tap. Lenny from Laverne and Shirley was one of the stars in Spinal Tap. Mm-hmm. Right?
Lenny from Laverne and Shirley was one of the stars in Spinal Tap. Yeah, he was. You're right.
Absolutely. That was I can't remember.
Michael McKean.
Right.
And we talked about two movies that Rob Reiner did, obviously Spinal Tap and Princess Bride. One guy played an important character in both. Same actor played an important character in both, and that was Nigel. These go to 11.
Yes,
right in Spinal Tap, and he was also Carl Rugen.
He was. That is what's her
Christopher Guest.
Christopher Guest. What's her name's husband?
What's her? Oh yeah.
The Scream Queen. Michael Myers' sister. Trading Spaces.
Oh, damn.
Oh, the train just went by. Why can't I? We've lost it.
I damn it. Here we go.
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Oh yeah.
Whew. Anyway,
thank you.
All right. Oh, here's one. Here's one we completely forgot about, John.
Mm-hmm. What's that?
And I'm going to give you the name of the place they drank.
What's that?
The Regal Beagle.
Oh, Three's Company.
Three's
And
Company.
I just actually ordered that T-shirt too. The Regal Beagle.
Did you?
Yeah,
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I've thought about ordering that many times. The thing about that show is there's times I couldn't watch that show because it just became so, to use the term of the day, cringe. Because Jack would get himself into so much trouble, and you knew he'd just try to lie his way out of him and get himself into more trouble. And it just became. There was a time in my life where that just became too stressful for me to try to watch him get out of what he got himself into.
Exactly.
But that was a lot of that show was a lot of fun though.
Mm-hmm. And then I will say this because they're not going to be on either of my list for the 80s. They did straddle, but they both started in the 70s, and that was Saturday night gold, if you will, right? 9 o'clock and 10 o'clock. I believe it was Channel 7. In the 70s started, and that's The Love Boat and Fantasy Island.
Fantasy Island, Hervé Villechaize. Carrie and I are going through all of the James Bond novels, so he was Knick-Knack.
Knick-Knack. He was Knick-Knack.
And man with the golden gun.
Yeah, Knick-Knack. Yeah. The plane. What kind of M&Ms does Hervé Villechaize like?
The plane.
The plane, right? Yeah. Exactly.
Took you a while. here's because I'm like, is this a trick question? It's just a plane. He just said it. Another one that was very, very realistic for its day is what it portrayed. Because it portrayed, a mom raising a couple daughters by herself. I think there's substance abuse involved, and that's why it was called One Day at a Time. That was
another straddling show. That was a 70s and 80s
70s.
straddling show.
Because that was Valerie Bertinelli was the big name that came out of it.
Sure,
but to me, it was more 70s than 80s, though. I mean, maybe just in feel and character and what they.
Yeah, I mean, it went from like 75 or 76 to like 84, 85. So it kind of literally was half in the 70s and half in the 80s. So.
But its content was very, very 70s.
And who was the
superintendent? Schneider.
What was his first name?
I don't think he had one.
Yeah, he did.
What was his first name?
Dwayne.
Dwayne Schneider.
Wayne Schneider. Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, Valerie Bertinelli and Mackenzie Phillips and Bonnie Tyler?
No.
Bonnie Raitt?
Bonnie Lassie?
Bonnie Bedelia?
Bonnie Franklin.
Yeah, Bonnie Franklin. Whatchamacallit. So yeah, that was a good show.
We were talking about the spin-offs for All in the Family, right? Rhoda was one of those.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember her doorman?
Carlton. Hi,
Right.
I'm Carlton, your doorman.
The doorman, but he was the one that came over the intercom all the time.
Yeah. Hi, this is Carlton, your doorman.
But you're doing it a little too chipper because he was hi.
Hi, this is Carlton, your doorman.
And so eventually he was the voice for Garfield.
Sure. Yeah. All right.
Yeah. So much good stuff.
Good stuff. All right. So we've covered the 70s. We're good. So, but needless to say, there was a lot of good TV. So look, if you've watched a bunch of 70s sitcoms, you know what we're talking about. If you haven't, go back and watch some of them because some of the stuff holds up. Even if you're younger, some of the stuff will hold up. You might have to search a little bit to find your niche in whatever you're looking for. But I promise you will find something that will make you laugh and you will like, and it will become something that you actually can talk about and like. No, I'm not talking about anybody older listening to this. Talking about obviously younger people that haven't shut this particular audio off already. But
you know what I forgot? I forgot that Three's Company did have a spinoff.
Three's a Crowd.
2 spinoffs.
There you go. What was the other one?
The Ropers.
The Ropers. Yes, the Ropers. The Ropers actually were happening concurrently with
it. Yes.
Yeah, because they left to have their own show, and that's when Mr. Furley became the
Mr. Furley became, and Mr. Roper, Ed Feld, was
Norman Feld.
Norman Feld he was famous for the fourth wall break.
Oh yeah, he always looked at the camera.
Always looked at the camera, and it just became a thing with them. We did forget another, which I thought was an important
quick
one.
aside.
Yeah.
Rush on their on their Presto tour.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's 1989-ish. The entire wall of amps, all right,
Yeah.
on the one side of the stage, plastered with pictures of Norman Feld.
Gotta love it.
Yeah.
Another 70s one I think we forgot, even though it did go into the 80s.
For no reason, just
I'm not going to bring it up because it starts so late in the 70s. There's no point in bringing it up.
Bookmark it. We'll talk about it with the 80s.
Yeah, we'll talk about it when we do. If we do.
When we do the 80s, whenever that is. So anyway, all right. I think we've exhausted a lot of stuff, and we've covered almost 2 hours worth of stuff, just you and I. So what do you say we let these guys shut the podcast off now?
Yeah, let's kill this. And I never once had to do potty dance.
Yeah, neither did I. I'm getting there myself, but it's getting close. But yeah,
I'm all right. Because I'm nursing this.
Because you're nursing, yeah. So am I. I still have a little left.
Yep.
Less than you, but I still have a little left.
It's a beautiful thing.
It is a beautiful thing. We got to find more of that. All right. On that note, we will wrap the show for today. We want to thank everybody for watching, and for those of you just listening to the audio podcast, thank you for listening. Don't forget to visit our website, www.loggerroom.com. That's LAGERROOM.com. And please remember, like us and follow us on all of our social media, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course, our YouTube channel. All of them are at The Logger Room. Remember, we go live with a video podcast on Facebook, YouTube, X, and Twitch every Tuesday night around 6:30 p.m. Eastern Time. And for those of you who just want to listen to the audio podcast, you can do so on our audio host, Spreaker, as well as iHeartRadio, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Odyssey, Audible, Google Podcasts, Amazon Music Podcasts, TuneIn, Podcast Addict, Castbox, Deezer, Podchaser, Listen Notes. Pretty much anywhere you can find audio podcasts, you will find the Logger Room Guys Craft Beer Podcast. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to one or more of those feeds, and you will never miss a show. Again, thanks for following along with us. Have a great rest of your week. Have a wonderful weekend. Drink a lot of beer, but drink responsibly. And we will talk to you next week, folks. Take care.
And tune in next week to figure out who won the sitting contest.
Yes, we will let you know next week. We will tell you next week. Great guest next week. Look forward to the show. We'll talk to you then, folks. Take care. Cheers.
It's a good question. Oh, well.